Hi friends, this is the second episode of Project New Earth podcast, and today I have a guest. Her name is Rachel Iris, and she's a mindfulness and a spiritual coach who does spiritual counseling and online mindfulness courses on her website, which you can see right now on the screen. We had a great talk, so please listen to it and enjoy. Hi Rachel.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I mean, we've had what, like two other conversations
Yeah, we
before.
have.
Yeah,
Hours long.
yeah, which we didn't record, and it was a shame, but now we have. So, um, I would say that the first thing that I would really like to talk about is actually I want to ask you a question, and it's in your area, so to say. In your
Okay.
opinion, what
Okay.
does mindfulness mean for you?
Oh,
Not
right.
what it means by the books, what it means for you.
Exactly. What mindfulness means to me is bringing each other closer together. And by doing that, you need to be closer to yourself first.
Mhm.
So, it's about bringing that connection to who you are within,
Mhm.
and finding that out, but also and using processes to do that, and then using mindfulness processes, and then with you knowing who you are and what you want and living your life that way, you can you can do that and help bring that into other people's lives and help bring you and your family closer, you know,
Mhm.
as a unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
so it's like that, it's bringing the love, the compassion, the kindness, the gratitude, the 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 ability to feel that within you to be able to give that out to everybody else. And I like to focus like purely on the heart, the
mhm.
heart center,
Yeah.
because I believe like we need complete unconditional love, right?
Mhm.
And we need that within ourselves. And if we can't have that within ourselves, then we just can't be functional otherwise, we're always going to be pushing against the tide, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're always pushing against the waves. We need to settle and be still inside for us to be able to swim, right?
Mhm.
For us to be able to just like smoothly go through and easily, with ease, go through life. And nowadays, with people, with the society being the way it is, it's like so hectic and mad, and so people are dragged here, dragged there, pulled back, pulled forward. And it's like, we just don't know whether we're coming or going. We don't know how to be. We don't know how to interact with one another. And it can be awkward. It can be, we can blame each other, judge each other, create, these difficult circumstances in life that we're facing. And it's like, it's knowing how to handle this in the best way possible. And people, we can be distracted constantly. And so we need to bring it together. We need to ground ourselves. We need
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
become closer to who we are. And so, like, mindfulness in its huge umbrella term, is because I do so many different areas, like, it's hard to just pull it into one, thing.
Yeah.
But it's basically just bringing you closer to yourself in order for you to bring, you know, yourself 100% to the world around you, in every connection, whether that's with other people, with yourself, with nature, with the earth, um,
Mhm.
um, in every moment of every day. Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can actually be, like you said, distracted, and even in our communications with others. And I somewhere I either read that or heard that when when we get nervous or when we are not grounded, as you said, in
Hmm.
our communications with others, we actually kind of leave our body a little bit. Like for example, you know how when you're talking with someone who you feel a little nervous, it could be an opposite the opposite sex, or even somebody like somebody famous, let's say, and
Yeah,
many times we go into that situation, and
yeah.
after that when it's finished and you're like, what the fuck was that, like
Yeah, no, right.
why did I say that, and
Yeah,
I've been told that this is because we actually, because we're not in our bodies, but we're like somewhere here, out of our bodies, and we're that's why we cannot think of the proper thing to say, because we're not
yeah.
in our body, we're not grounded, we're
Well,
just.
that's it. We've been like, I feel like we've been totally conditioned all our lives by our atmosphere, by by the environment, by our
Mhm.
families, by, through ancestors, time and time and time again. And so, and on top of that, in this society now, it's a constant change, and it's a constant having to readapt and things, which is great. But but it can also leave us a bit unsettled, and it can also leave us a bit like out of balance and a bit confused on who we are, where to go. Things are changing so fast. We need new skills quickly, and we need to adapt so quickly. And like if we have all of our our values and morals and things, and then things can get tainted because life can bring you so many difficult circumstances and situations, and you just don't know what to do and how to face it. And so when you're faced with someone else, and they've got their entire background and
Mhm.
they've got their experiences that you have no clue about because you've got all your background and your experiences, so to try and have that communication when sometimes it can be polar opposites, a polar opposite life from each other, it's hard to find that understanding. And I think
Mhm.
we need to really maybe it's becoming higher than an understanding. It's like a greater understanding. It's more of like an awareness of self
Yeah.
and an awareness of what not to judge that other person, and
Mhm.
not to just quickly think, oh, I'm better than them, or I know more than them, I'm you know more like I'm rich, or I'm more, status and is higher in some way. It's not about that. Like, life isn't about that. If we can literally have a conversation which is just like based on a beautiful like a beautiful relationship, it's based on like how compassionate we are with each other, and how we want to help each other grow, and if it's solely based on those compassionate values, then like the conversations will be easy and will flow easier. And having that understanding that we're all not the same, and not to judge one another, but to accept the way that person is, because we don't know how they feel from what they've experienced in their life, and we don't know what they've experienced. So it's not, if we can find that ease and that awareness, and that greater understanding, then I think conversations will just flow a lot easier, and we won't have to feel like we have to put up like a facade, like a
Mhm.
veil.
Yeah.
I like to say it's like a veil,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's like what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. You've got, it's like it's a personality we've formed over time,
Mhm.
right? And it kind of hides the real us. And when I say, like, I like to focus on the heart center and that unconditional love, is because that's the real us. We
Mhm.
all want to be loved, supported, cared for, to be cared for, to be listened to and heard and noticed, and wanted and things. We want this so badly, and because it can sometimes clash, because we all want to be heard more than the other person, or we want to be, and it can get so confusing. But if you've got those grounding principles, with the compassion and kindness and the understanding, then you won't look at it in that perspective. It will completely shift that perspective, and you will
Mhm.
see things and see life in a much more beautiful, magical way.
Yeah, yeah, and because in a way, we've been taught to create that separation, and in a way, it depends of what perspective you're looking at it.
That's true.
That separation is needed, but in the same way, we've forgotten, many of us, we've forgotten that we're just a different point of view from the same consciousness.
Yes,
And I think that the lack, or the not as much as the lack, but the forgetness of that, that we forgot that knowledge, which our ancestors knew very well, much
mm,
much much more than we know it now.
exactly. Mm,
They were much more connected and in tune with who they are in,
yes,
and what nature is in connection with us. and
exactly.
and I feel that because of all that distraction, which is, we know it's created from the media, from the governments, from the everything, that all the entities that are trying to control everything, because they think
Yes,
that it's their uh, not choice, but like uh,
right.
like a necessity. They think they
Yeah.
should, and they must, and they have the I'm looking for the word. Uh, it's not their uh, not obligation, but I don't even know what the word is. But
So it's like, yeah,
they're trying to control everything so bad, because
like a power, like
yeah,
to hold a power.
yeah, and it's not theirs. Uh, it's not
Yeah.
theirs to control. They're not the ones that should be controlling everything.
No, no, not
That's why like Joe Rogan says that the idea of one person to control the entire country is ridiculous.
really. Yeah.
And it really is, because you cannot do that,
Yeah,
because
it's ridiculous, but it's happening.
yeah.
It's like this is impossible. Oh wait, in from one day to the next, the whole bloody world was
Oh yeah.
inside their house, not moving because it's like fear based, isn't it? It's like full on used fear to control us, right?
And the sad thing is that it's working, and it shouldn't be, because
Yeah.
we usually we fear things, like we spoke before. We fear things that we don't know, that are unknown. We
Yes.
we haven't experienced them yet, and that's what they're using now, and it's a shame, because we have all the information out there.
Mm,
It's our choice to actually get out there and find it. It's
it
not,
is.
even though they are trying to hide it, they cannot hide it. That's the double-edged sword of a knife, or sword of the internet, because
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of works in their favor because of the social media and everything, and all the programming and the subconscious and unconscious programming. But in the same way, they created it, but now they cannot stop it, because it's so big, it's so vast, that it cannot be stopped. You cannot stop the information. You can block a channel, you can delete a profile, but how many more are there?
Yeah.
Because like we did in that, during that time, the
Mm,
people who actually wanted to get the information, the proper information, the real
mm,
one,
mm,
the correct knowledge, even if it's on medicine or whatever it is, it was
mm,
out there. It was
mm,
excuse me, it was suppressed, but it was
mm,
out there.
mm.
And if you want to get it, you can get it. And the more information you have, I even spoke on that on the first episode, that the
Right.
more information you have, the less fear you have, because you begin
Yeah.
to understand that there's nothing to fear.
Mm.
Because first, and I'm not talking
I
just
know,
about,
right?
the virus.
You
That's
know,
that's one
it's.
thing that we shouldn't be afraid of. But if we dare to go into the
I
deeper,
know. Are we going there? Are we doing that in this
well,
one?
I mean, who, like I said,
Why
I
not,
mean,
right?
we go into the deep waters, and whoever cannot swim, they can just stay on the shallow, and just
Exactly.
just prepare themselves to go into the deep,
Yeah.
because that was the reason why I told you before that I thought that that the first episode was a little bit boring for me, in my opinion, because I
Right,
wasn't talking about any of that.
right.
And in the past 6, 7, 8 months now since the pandemic started, that's all. That's the thing that I'm most fascinated by, because I
Yeah,
get to learn more and more and more stuff, and the more I learn, the more it just expands my mind, and there goes the fear. There's
yeah.
no way I would have fear if I know all that. There's no way that I would fear something, even death, because you and me and many other people know that there's no such thing as death.
No,
Because you
exactly.
you just zip out that suit, and you just continue, you just
Exactly.
and it
That's
actually,
lovely. Yeah.
if you've read stories, or even podcasts or episodes or books that talk about the near death experience and all that, people don't want to come back from that.
No, I bet.
Some pe- some
That
people are
piece.
some people are here shaking and scared of death,
Yeah,
and thinking, because it's the unknown, because they don't know
yeah.
what's gonna happen after that.
It's
They think it's
exactly
just
that.
lights off and that's it, and we're
Yeah.
finished. And the people who had the near death experience, and have been on the other side, they didn't want to come back, because they say it's, why would I want to come back in that broken body, and that it's so confined, it's so, all the negativity, all the the drama, and all that, it's gone
Mm.
there. When you're there, it just dissolves.
It's disappeared.
And
It's
like you said, it's the pure you. It's
it's the pure you. That's
Yeah,
it.
the
The
soul remains.
yes, that's it. And that's that you asked me what is mindfulness? It's bringing that exact knowing, inner knowing into life now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can experience that peace, that unconditional love, that complete acceptance of everyone and everything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you can experience that now. We have that ability. We are capable of so much, but because we're so limited, we have so many limited beliefs, and those limited beliefs stop us and prevent us from reaching out, from moving forward with ease, from moving forward like into things that we want to do that give us joy and happiness, and being surrounded by people that give us that. But we're so in fear that those limitations are really stopping us from achieving that, what our greatest potential, really.
Mm-hmm.
you
and
know
and they're so strong, those beliefs.
they
Even
are so strong.
I can tell from experience that I know all of that. I know that everything is possible. I know that you can heal instantly, like
Yeah.
with, I've read, You're the Placebo, that we talked about with, by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and on so many podcasts he's explained how people in wheelchairs, just in one moment, like in one session there, and they just get up and walk.
Go. Mm,
I've heard
yeah.
so many of those stories, and in his book as well, in on other podcast. I know that every all that is possible, but when it comes time for me to actually really surrender, and to believe, and to let it just happen, it's so hard, because it's
It's
so
so hard.
deeply, that programming is
Ingrained.
so deeply in our brain.
That's it. And it's finding that process to be able to um you need to find an equal thing that is greater, not equal but greater than that ingrained limited belief, if you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean. It's like, okay, we need to completely observe ourselves, our actions, our motives, our intentions. We need to we need to know exactly how we're feeling in that moment. Okay, so if someone says something to us that we don't like in that moment, instead of reacting or doing something that we feel hurt, instead of reacting, really go, okay, what's happening within my body at that moment. Is my heart racing, is
Mm-hmm.
am I sweating, am I feeling like, agitated, am I, and start to notice like where the emotions of like frustration, anger, fear, sadness, hurt, pain, where it's coming from. Is it your heart? Is it your tummy? Is it where, where is it? And once you find that awareness, that's what, we can work on those emotions with those centers, and we
Mm-hmm.
can really release them and open them up. And honestly, it's like we can choose to live life like in those pains. Like I'm going through it as well, and I'm really facing it at the moment. It's like things that have, happened, which has happened, not, and I have associated with it being happening to me, and that, okay, this person did this to me. And so I'm going to hold that in my mind forever. And so this is what then I think about all people of that type, all people, all men or
Yeah.
all this situations, if you know what I mean. And it's like, no, that is not the case, and we're tainted by those things that have happened, right? But if we go, they are just things that have happened, and it's not to us, and we don't associate, we don't with ourselves with that,
Mm-hmm.
then we can separate ourselves from that. And as soon as we do that, we find that space, the space opens in our minds and our hearts. And when that space opens, like in meditation and doing the practices and doing yoga and things and mindfulness practices and things, like when that space opens, what comes flying and flooding in is that compassion, is that love, because you transform, is that transformation of you not reacting to that situation or prolonging it your whole life or prolonging it for years and manifesting it inside you. Because if it remains inside you and you resist then constantly, you're totally resisting against the world, because the world just wants to help you. And if you keep repeating those cycles over and over again and building up this hate and building up this difficulty, then you won't be able to, that will continue for the rest of your life. So you can continue in that pain, or you can choose to let that go, and you can choose to really do the work. And the work,
Mm-hmm.
we're like, oh, we're scared of doing that work. People can be so scared of doing it, they refuse to do it, or say it's impossible, or give it excuses, name them, they're all there. You can, and it's like, I can't do this today, I can't do that. If it's important to you, if you want to transform, then you need to take that small amount of time daily for yourself and then build that up.
Mm-hmm.
And then soon you'll realize things just start to come into place. You'll
Exactly.
go, oh my life, like I've had that many realizations recently. I'm like, I've realized the most obvious thing in planet Earth. um, I'm not fully looking after myself, right? Or I'm fully trying to put myself into something else and help with something else, that I'm not taking care of my heart and my soul and
Mm-hmm.
what I need to really become free. And then once you gain that ability and those practices and you stick with them, life unfolds so much easier. And so it's just gaining that, like from what you originally said, like because it's so difficult when those emotions are so strong and embedded in our minds, like to 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 raise that consciousness higher than that through the breath, through those meditations, through that the deep inner work. And there's processes out there, and once you take that on, you
And
know you
stillness.
you don't want to go back. Yeah, you to find that stillness. It will just happen. It will just happen. And the experience that you gain is your own unique experience that maybe you can't explain to anyone else. But I'm telling you now, you won't want to go back when you realize what it is that you're capable of. In fact, you probably can't go back because what you see
Absolutely.
now is so big.
Absolutely, and you get out of the role of a victim, which which
Exactly.
which doesn't take you anywhere. You can
Right.
you can choose to be the victim and blame everything else, the outside world, for your issues or problems, Or I talked about that in the first episode as well. Or
Right.
you can take responsibility and say, you know what, enough. I'm the ball is in my hands. I choose what to do. And
Exactly.
and 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 also what you said about if somebody is offending you and all that. I think the not the process but the practice of meditation is really, at least for me, it was really helpful for that,
Good.
because it helped me to actually be able to caught to catch that emotion and that reaction, even before it came out. In the I explained it as three steps uh, of mindfulness evolution in that way. The first, before I started the meditation, I couldn't stop my emotion. They just come flying out.
Flying.
I couldn't stop it, and not only I couldn't stop it, it was affecting me for hours after the situation. And I couldn't just, it was, I was in a bad mood just because of that small thing, or because that misunderstanding with someone, or traffic, or whatever it is. And and
Yeah.
and after that when I started to meditate, I noticed that the emotion was still coming, but it wasn't, there wasn't that physical sensation, the warm wave, the anger that comes into your body. And at the end, after not a long time actually, I was able to completely stop it. Like I
Wow.
was seeing it coming, and I realized it's like
The
it gives you,
awareness.
yeah, and it slows time in a way. It's like it's
Yes.
slowing
Right.
down time. It's like you have the time to see the emotion coming, and you say, you know what, that doesn't worth my anger and you just dismiss it. And there's no physical sensation. There's no the anger, the fire in your belly that makes you
Yeah.
curse and that makes you
Lose it.
explode of anger. There's none of that.
Mm.
And for me, that was just so big, because I was
As
before
if
that I was quite of a grumpy person,
grumpy man.
yeah. And you know what, many times I noticed that I even fought for my anger. When somebody says, why are you getting so angry, it's not a big deal, and I'm like, no, it's not, it is a big deal, you know what, fuck you,
Yeah.
it's and
Yeah.
you're
Totally.
fighting for your negative emotion. It's
Absolutely. It's
so it's
mad,
so
isn't
mind
it?
blowing. It,
And it's like when you get the awareness of that, you go, I can't believe I was doing that all
yeah.
this time. It's like, that's
Exactly.
embarrassing, you know? And it's like, oh, that is solely awareness on what you've done. I really want to ask you, like, what made you, how, do you know what brought that awareness to you?
um I think it was mainly the practice of meditation, because I didn't
Right.
do anything else. Well, I was also, I always listen to podcasts and all that, and one of my favorite on that topic, on
Uh-huh.
everything that we talk about, is Aubrey Marcus's podcast.
Right.
Because almost every episode,
Yeah.
because he's very spiritual, he has
Yeah.
a lot of experience with plant medicine and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And the, it affects you, all those experiences. There's no way you go through all of that and still be the same grumpy midget. the and
That's it.
because it's so such a shift of perspective, and you see yourself during those experiences. You see your actual self.
Mm.
The thing that we talked about, you see your soul, you see that what you're really made of, that
Yeah.
you're not your emotions, you're not your body, you're not your personality even. You're
Mm.
something much higher and much greater, and you're
Yes.
part of something even more and more greater.
Exactly.
And if when you have that practice, be that meditation, or even I've heard that yoga also helps that,
Yoga
because
is incredible.
at least if you really are in it, You're not
Yeah.
just, doing yoga and you're thinking about your job and your
Yeah.
or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. If you really invest your attention, that's another thing that I talk about on the previous episode. It's really important when you where you put your attention. And I
It is.
cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crucial where you put your
I know.
attention. And
It is.
when you have that awareness, as you said, even if somebody is mistreating you, you have that capability of actually separate yourself and think, maybe if he's acting like that, maybe it's not, because we think it's our fault most of the time. Oh, what
Mm.
did I do? Like, why you acting like that? Maybe it's not
Mm.
you, maybe it's them, maybe it's something, some pain they have, because
E-
usually
exactly.
people act like assholes when they're in pain.
That's the
you
truth.
you won't act like that if you're happy. And I've never seen a person who is in a great mood and just
I know.
starts acting. Yeah,
Exactly. It's
it's
like, yeah.
that's the empathy and
Yes.
the fact that you can actually say, you know what, who knows what he's going through. Maybe I don't know, maybe he's having family issues. Maybe his spouse is acting up, or maybe he lost his job, or whatever. It can be anything. And what I found out is that the best thing you can do for yourself, not for the other person as well, but for yourself mainly, is to assume just
Yeah.
assume that something very bad has happened to that person. And
Right.
it's hard to be angry on someone when, let's say, their mother died, for example,
Yeah.
or
Mm.
and maybe, of course, maybe it's not the case. Maybe they are an asshole, but
Yeah.
by assuming that something happened to them to make them act like that, it's easy on you, and
Yeah.
and you can
It's
just let it go and say, that's fine.
exactly.
That's fine. I
Don't take it
understand.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about taking it personally
Mm-hmm.
because what somebody is feeling is it is happening within them, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a bully. If somebody's going to bully you, if somebody's going to, it's like something that I really think is necessary to bring into schools, this understanding,
Yeah.
which I'm trying to do at the moment. It's like we need an emotional education to understand that if somebody is not good, being good, nice towards you, and being hurtful towards you, purposefully and intentionally, it's like the pain within them is so strong, and
Absolutely.
and like and we may not know what it is, and whatever it's basically whatever somebody brings to the table, whatever somebody is directing towards you, we react to that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about stopping that reaction mindfully. And that's a huge thing that I teach, like really stopping those reactions and
Mm-hmm.
really holding them back and really seeing it from a higher perspective. And once you, like you said, you need to gain that. It's like a clarification. It's like, okay, I notice now that this person's acting this way. um I have a choice. How there's always a choice,
Of
right?
course.
And when you decide to go to respond compassionately, instead of react negatively, like this, like responding with compassion, you can't, like, if you're screaming at me and I'm just being, it's okay, I understand, and
It's
let's
so
speak about it.
different.
How can you scream at me still, right? There's just not, I'm not going to backfire, because that's expectation. What we're bringing to the table, we're going to get given back. So if we give love, if we give compassion, if we give kindness all the time, no matter how much it hurts us, we transform. Then we're the higher ones. Then if we don't react, we're the higher ones. It's a good thing. Don't think because you've not reacted that, or in a bad way, or ganged up on this bully then, or said something back to this bully to hurt them. Don't think you're the good one in that situation, or because you've defended yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not about that. If we want this world to run smoothly in a way which is going to, which in a communication with our families and ourselves, like I was saying at the beginning, then we need to look at this higher perspective, and we need to take notice of these reactions, and we need to observe ourselves. We need to know how we feel. We need to know our emotional education, and we need to really ground ourselves. But because we've never been taught that, to teach that to people now is really difficult, because it's like, okay, you need these ground foundational principles to be able to achieve everything else you want in your life. It's like, well, I haven't got time for this. I've got responsibilities, I've got kids, I've got this, I've got that. And it's like, okay, well, you can continue living your life in this constant mayhem then, you
Yeah.
know, make that time, find that. I know it's so hard, like, I know, but
Mm-hmm.
like small, tiny steps.
Yeah.
What, tick off one thing a day, you know, tick it off, make yourself feel good. Like, and if you don't react and you have held it back, and you work on how you're feeling then from what that person said to you, okay, this person said this to me, how has that made me feel? And you work through that with the your practices.
Mm-hmm.
um Release that and open to that. And the best thing you can do in all of this is to just accept, completely accept whatever. It's like, you don't have to accept that negative thing and think you're whatever that person said to you, you know? Like, you don't have to accept that, but accept, like, it's hurt me in this way. Like, okay, sit with that emotion. Why
Mm-hmm.
has it hurt me in this way? Maybe they've targeted a trigger or something that's
Yeah.
very personally hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone's overweight and they say, target that, and then you can be like, oh no, and this and that, and you can go in that victim mode, like you were saying before. It's something we need to really step out of. We need to take that, I guess, like self-empowerment, right?
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
need to we need to hold our grounding and self-empowerment on moving forward in the best way for us. And those people, don't have them in your life whatsoever. People who aren't helping you grow, there's no need for those people in your life. And even if it hurts, it's going to benefit you in the future. I'm not saying you don't work through things, because if you can work through things spiritually together, then that's a great, you know, that's like, here's an award for you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's such a powerful thing to work through something together with someone, a friend, family member, spouse,
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend, girlfriend,
If you
whatever.
can. If you
If you
can.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can, try that and do that. Don't just give up, but like, know that you can't keep repeating those same cycles, except allowing people to speak to you and hurt you in those ways. Like, you don't need that in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And at the end of the day,
absolutely.
we're because you said you can just let go of those people, and I truly stand by that, because sometimes there's nothing you can do.
There's
It because if you decided to move and to evolve yourself, and you reach a certain point, and that other person is still way somewhere underneath here, and he doesn't want to hear about changing, you cannot pull them even if you want to,
mm-hmm.
because we always try, because it's especially if it's somebody who's closer to you, and and of course you had a contract with that person up there, and you chose to come here together. But I heard something very interesting the other day.
Yeah.
A lady that made a video about that, about breaking those connections, because you can do that, even if you had a contract to, I mean, up there, to come here, because we all play roles. When you get to know all those stuff and all that information about that, you realize that we all play roles. In this life, you're the daughter. In the previous life, maybe you were the mother or the father or the cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a role. And but you can break that connection. And how she explained it was, first you need to choose to not play that game anymore, to not to not have that fight, and that all the frustration between the two of you. you choose, and then she says, next thing, when the next time you have a interaction with that person, just don't be the person you usually are. Just don't
Yeah,
play that role. Just don't be like that, and see how they react, and see how they're gonna be like
exactly.
what are you doing? Like, why you're not
Why
fighting
you're not
back?
reacting and
Yeah,
fighting to me? Imagine, you're so used to this argument, the arguments constantly, and the conflict and the battle and the
yeah,
war. We're so used to that we like it in a way. It's like we
yeah.
need that to affirm
Subconsciously,
certain
yeah.
things, but that's a whole other ball game I won't go into right now. But like, imagine like just having this person there, and then you coming in completely after all this time with love and compassion and kindness. I don't know. It's just like it may blow the minds, and it may like
Hmm.
make them react even more. But it's just like
It might,
hold
yeah.
that ground, hold that, choose it. I've chosen this way now. It's so right. That is the choice is yours, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you
Oh, it
see,
is.
if you see that there's no there's no way to actually even help that person to meet you where you are,
Mm,
you just don't play the same game, because in a way, even if you are past that, even if your consciousness is expanded, just the interaction with that person is dragging you into that fight again, because it's programmed, it's you're so used to it, and you just go on autopilot. The
mm,
minute you start interacting with them, they say something which is a trigger for you. It always been, you know, and immediately it just drags you down again, and you're again back in the same place. But if you really try and stop doing that, stop playing that role, it will change. Even if like you said, it can actually make them react even more. You can make them even more angry, because how come you're not participating in that
yeah,
fight, you know?
yeah,
who,
exactly.
who do you think you are, you know? Are
I
you
know,
do you
right?
think do you think you're so spiritual
How
now, and
dare
you're
you not
so
be
zen?
angry at me?
Yeah. it's and But that's fine. You just say,
That's
okay, I
okay.
mean, I get it, I understand you. I
Yes.
understand you, but I'm not gonna play. It doesn't help me anymore.
Yeah. And but then that transformation in them after that, moments happened and you've moved on, that person's gonna go away and think, oh no, like I
Hmm.
was screaming and they just gave nothing but love, and how awful is that? That's gonna set in.
Oh
There's
yeah.
It's such a big contrast and opposing, like, you know, views and things like, um there's no way that that love hasn't entered them, and it hasn't worked its way through them, and it hasn't gone to some kind of change and understanding and tiny transformation. It's always working on us, and every time we respond with love, every time we respond with kindness, it works on us without us even knowing. It's
Hmm.
like the inner workings, they're going continuously, they're working all the time, when we
Absolutely.
just don't know it, do we? It's like we don't know it to our minds, but our soul and our body is working for us all the time. And so we need to feed it, we need to nurture it, we need to care for ourselves. And if that's the one thing that mindfulness gives, it's care and compassion and self-management and self-love. It's all about how to bring your heart into a wholeness. Because once you've got a wholeness, there is no need anymore. There's no want anymore.
Hmm.
There's no anything, because you're complete. It's just a wholeness there, you know.
But it takes work,
I
for
bet it takes
sure.
work.
I mean,
I
it's
know.
I know we're talking like
Check
it's
out
it's
the bags.
easy, but
Yeah.
we both know that, and everyone who's investing their time into that, and to actually move ahead and to evolve in that manner, they, everyone knows it's really hard. But y- again, it's your choice. You
Yeah.
can you know work at it, you can work, or you can just take the victim mode and just
Yeah,
blame everyone else and see where that gets you.
yeah. It's
And
like,
it's not gonna be far. I mean, I've been there. I've been in that everyone else is responsible for my unhappiness and for
yeah,
all that.
external circumstances,
Yeah. Oh, why did that
none of
happen to
that.
me? Why is this? Why is that? Why I don't have that? Why it, and yeah, you can choose that, but it's not fun because
No,
that
and it,
way you're helpless. There's
yeah.
nothing you can do because like we said, it's something else is responsible for your mood, for your happiness, for your wholeness. You just give your power away. You just
Exactly. You're
you
giving
just
it away. It's like, oh, I'm gonna, this is something that I've really had to, sorry, I completely don't know if I've just cut in there.
no, it's
Oh, so passionate about what you say. It's just like, it's because it resonates with me so much, the expectation of someone else, the like if we fully focus on other people and other things and external things and we expect things to go in a certain way and if it doesn't, we're like, well, I have been good, honest, loyal, um, amazing, this, that, and the other. Why am I not getting what I would give to you back and things? And then it's just like in every area of life, this happens, right? Every
mm-hmm,
ship that sails, this happens. And like it's going, okay, I need to not expect anything from them. I need to know that my wholeness is coming from me and my joy in what I do in my life, and my focus needs to be on myself and my heart center. And then when it does, then you start to realize that, oh my gosh, I've depended on other people and of life to make my moods change constantly.
mm-hmm.
I've my emotions have been dependent on external circumstances. Well, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's making that choice of I am not doing and participating in that game anymore. I'm stepping out of that and I am going to take ownership and responsibility of who I am, who I want to become, and I am going to do the best I can to bring that joy into my life. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do take those tiny steps and you start to do those tiny things that you love to do, maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's you know maybe you want to paint, maybe you want to go and do some fitness, maybe you want to go and do whatever. When you
Mm-hmm.
start to do that, that sense of empowerment, oh, look what I've got, I am an independent person, I'm not
Yeah.
dependable on anyone else, I can do this. And we need to do that in order for our souls to grow,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole purpose of this human experience is for our souls to grow, for
Of
like
course.
to gain a structure, a solid structure for when we're out of this human body and whatever consciousness we're gonna go into next, we're prepared and we're not confused. We're not leaving this body confused without meaning and without purpose, because in our life we need meaning and purpose. We don't need to be going down societal norms and those paths which take us in all different directions, which are forced upon us. We need marriage, we need a job. I mean, college, uni, job, girlfriend, marriage, babies, this, that. You're gonna come
Retirement.
from retirement. You're gonna waiting for people are waiting for retirement to feel free. Well, you might not freaking make it. Your
Mm-hmm.
body is knackered if you're a hard laborer. If you're doing hard work that entire life, you're like 45 and you're going, I am KO'd. Like my body cannot physically do anymore. Well, no shit, because you've spent all your life slaving away for money when you should have spent all your life feeding your soul.
and not and you spend your life not caring about that body.
I know, not caring, not loving it, not cherishing it, not doing what's right for it.
I,
It's
w-
so important.
I would say that one of the main goals for us as as souls, as you say, on that planet at this time, I think the main goal is to actually take control of our minds. I think that would be our main goal, and it's not a surprise that this is what we're talking about is being discussed so much,
Mm.
and it's not a coincidence that even that psychedelics are getting more and more talked about, research. Look what's happening in the states. They're decriminalizing here and there, like that. What did they do? They work on their mind, on your mind, on your consciousness, because when we move to the next plane or the next dimension or whatever, when we leave that body that's actually holding us, and it's the spirits that come to this to that planet. They always say it's so heavy, the energy is so dense here, it's so, how you live here, they if you like, I've read the books of Dolores Cannon, and it's full of that. You can get so much from there, and I've been recommending them to everyone basically, to
Yes, I know.
absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
And because when you move to the next level, you're working with your mind,
Mm.
because everything becomes much faster, and
Yeah.
whatever you're moving, you're creating with your mind. And if you don't have control on your mind, imagine if you just leave your mind to just create some gnarly and negative and awful stuff, they will just manifest immediately. That's
Hmm.
why we're preparing. That's why there's that great awakening going on now, because
Yeah.
we need to shift our consciousness. We need to, because it's time, like it or not, it's happening. We talked
Hmm.
about that. In the next 1 or 2 years, there will be massive changes. Massive changes. We're gonna see some
Gonna shock everyone.
yeah, we're gonna see some entities, some creatures which were always been here, and that
Yeah.
itself is just gonna expand our consciousness so much. You cannot help it. You cannot just
Mm.
see those things and just be like, ah, well, just another
Yeah.
day. You can't, and that's why they are gonna show themselves, because
Yeah.
they're they're basically waiting for us to actually expand, to actually grow our consciousness, to stop being so selfish, so angry, so frustrated, and all the negative emotions. They they don't have that there. they
No.
they're they have the purity, they have all the good vibes, and
Yeah.
that's why they're not showing themselves for so long. They've been
Yeah.
here for years and years and thousands of years, and they've been here forever. All the
Hmm.
time they've been here, but they
Mm.
cannot show themselves because we're not on that level yet.
Yeah. But we
we
can. It's totally accessible for us, though, right? Like we
Yeah,
can absolutely, access that, those
absolutely.
dimensions now, and those beings and those things now. Like bearing in mind, we've just gone from mindfulness to beings.
That's The-
Blown people's minds.
yeah, I mean, as I said, if you can't swim, don't go into the deep waters.
Right.
And but it's true. I mean, it's happening.
So true.
That was one of the reasons I created the podcast, because I've been talking about those topics with with you, with many other people,
Mm.
and in the same time I see that so many other people have no clue, like zero. They're because they're so invested into that the fear, the vaccines, the
And it's such a
elections,
shame, right? It's a shame.
everything. It's a shame, yeah,
It's just a terrible shame.
because that's not how it's supposed to be. We're not
No.
here on that planet to be afraid, to be scared, to be
No.
thinking about money all the time, about social media, about
Yeah.
fame, and all
Yeah.
those. That's so shallow,
It
and
is.
and it's
It.
it's a shame. I sometimes I think that some people need to have an out of body experience to actually see how ridiculous that is.
I know, right?
Because the minute when you get out of your body, all of that just dissolves, and you see it how it is. You see that all it's like a film going through your head, all the
Uh-huh.
stupid stuff that you've been dealing with, all the unnecessary shallow bullshit. And at that moment you think like, what, why was I doing that? And
Yeah,
but it's, you know, you cannot see that until you have some weird experience
clarity.
that
Yeah, and the world's giving it to us all the time, right? Like we have, we're asking for answers all the time, and the
Mhm.
world is actually giving it to us. Maybe it's not the answer we want, or maybe it's not, it's coming at us in unexpected ways, and we need what the thing is. The world is giving it to us. We're just not allowing it in because we're
Mhm.
blocked. We're totally blocked. Our centers are blocked. Our mind is blocked because we're so in fear. And if we're in that fear state, fight or flight state, if we're in that survival mode, then the universe is dying to give us the answer. It's like, here's the answer for you. Here's the answer to your dreams. Here's the answer for you to do whatever it is that you need to do. But we're blocking it. It's
Just
like we
reach and grab it.
reach, grab it, say yes, allow it. I want it. Give it to me.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah.
the answer.
And
It's
the
like,
fear, I heard that recently in, again, on Aubrey Marcus's podcast. Dr.
yeah,
Zach Bush was talking about the emotions and vibrations that fear and guilt are the two emotions that are the most harmful for your spirit, for your soul,
yeah,
because they
right.
bring you down the most in just in vibrations, just in frequency.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
that's the two emotions that were prevalent in during that pandemic:
hmm
fear for the people who were scared of all that, and guilt for the people who didn't believe that and who didn't
Yeah,
want to wear masks. You
exactly.
know,
And
shame on
yeah.
you. You know,
You
how
can't
could
travel
you?
anymore. You
Yeah.
can't do this. You can't go into shops. You can't be this way. You can't even have that option. You need an illness to be able to not wear a mask. You need this. We're being so controlled that we don't. Where is the free speech? Where is the free spirit? Where is the free life? Where is free will?
Yeah.
Where Answer me that question. It's just so upsetting. But like, we need to not what the light bearers and light workers need to do, like what we all need to do, you know is we need to focus on the good and the light, and we need to really really focus on that. And to get, it's like the force, it's like, we need to come out of that, the mode of where we it's something I've really learned, like, because I was so like, oh, why are people doing this? Why don't people research? Why don't people see outside the box? Why can't people understand that what has been told to us is lunacy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't what how are these awful things that are being said to us daily, which are being completely drilled into our minds, that for the
Mm-hmm.
future we're going to be scared to even go near each other? For the future, it's pushing us away, and so we've got this distance and separation again, like religion, like, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I
Mm-hmm.
won't go into now. But like, you know it's always a divide, it's always a separation, and it's something that we need to not focus on, because if we can just focus on that higher frequency, like you're saying, not the fear, not the guilt, but the higher frequency, and the
Mm-hmm.
love and the compassion and the unconditional of everything that's high, right?
Yeah.
If we can do that and lead with that and continue with that, then the rest will fall away. There's no room for darkness when everything's light.
Mm-hmm. It's I feel like it's definitely gonna change, and what we can do is, like you said, you cannot pour anything in somebody's head with a funnel. You What you can do is just be the example. Just that's the only thing you can do. And I was guilty of that myself when that happened, because I was trying to show everything, to wake everyone up. It's not gonna happen. You can just work on yourself, because there's plenty of work in ourselves to be bothered with everyone else. Just be uh, just be in your own work. Just do you.
Hmm.
and
Exactly. Be
and
free in you.
everything else will follow. Just work on yourself, on your mind expansion, on your spirituality, on your mindfulness, and you attract other similar people, and you emit that frequency, because the higher vibrations will always win to the to over the lower one. So if
Well,
you're on the higher, or on the higher plane, you you affect like a virus all the other people.
yes, exactly. Let's
Yeah.
let's infect everyone with love.
Yeah, that's the
On
only
that
way.
note,
That's the only way. And
yeah.
thank God for books, thank God for podcasts, for people
Mm,
who are out there and can spread that message, because think if that was like 30 years ago.
I
We wouldn't
know.
be able to do that what we're doing now. There's no way that you can hear the positivity. You
I
would be
know.
only only in front of the TV, poisoned with that negativity, and you have no choice. But now
Mm,
you have a choice.
mm.
And I know you have to go, so we will definitely
I have.
do part two for sure. Maybe
Oh,
part
I'm so
three and
excited.
four.
I mean, we might just do this weekly.
Why not? Yeah, I mean, people need more of that.
Yeah.
Less
I just, yeah.
less masks and fear and
More
vaccines
love.
and more positivity, more
Yeah.
love,
More love and light. Absolutely. Thank you.
because
Yeah.
all of the spirits are waiting for us to actually get there,
Mm.
so we can meet those damn aliens finally.
We can be free. Free.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note,
Yeah.
um, thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
I've
thank you.
loved it.
It was
Yeah.
great fun, and we'll definitely do it again.
Yes, very soon.
Yeah. And so everyone, just be positive.
So
Keep up the good vibes, the good vibrations. Keep love in your heart. Don't allow any negativity to even penetrate your day. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
it's beautiful. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Thank you, and bye everyone, and see you next time.
See you.